more. The Real Raw offers us a chance to have a microphone and a stage and form ecosystems, make more money in less time with more magic. Thanks to Sean Callagy's formula, which he's been curating for the past 23 years. And if you don't know who he is, you should know. He's an entrepreneur, national speaker, philanthropist, one of America's top trial attorneys, and is the chief visionary officer at UNBLINDED. And though he is blind, he is here to unblind us in integrity through micro distinctions on how we can all go from hello to yes in any role that we play in life. And leaders can lead and influence leaders and make the world a more heart-centered and amazing place. Welcome, Sean Callagy. Welcome, everyone.
Yes, welcome, Vivian. And we have free Twizzlers and peanut M&Ms for everybody, and peanut butter M&Ms. And Vivian, one of my happiest things, everybody, my fun fact for the week is that I just bought $3,000 of Unbelievable cookies at this last weekend's event. So everybody's getting cookies.
I can't wait.
Yes,
I can't wait to have them.
Yes, but they are healthy and nutritious.
I believe it.
Not.
Believe
so
it.
Ready? Yes, you are amazing and you're getting us going. So please, let's share what is happening with everybody here.
Oh my God, today's amazing. We have a lot of beautiful women in the house. We have Dr. Monique Ruberu. Dr. Monique Ruberu is a speaker and international health coach, a pro-life advocate, and OBGYN doctor who owns her own practice, Natural Women's Health Gynecology in Pennsylvania. She's the author of Rising with Roses, a compilation of her life's lessons and her return to her faith. She's proud of her advocacy and recently led 2 40-day pro-life campaigns in downtown Philly, offering love, compassion, support, and resources to women during their most challenging times in life. So awesome. Welcome, Dr. Monique.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And welcome and congratulations on all you're up to in the world, standing for what you believe in. And yeah, that is absolutely amazing. And I'm very grateful that you're here.
Thanks. So happy to be here.
Yeah. A fun fact, Dr. Monique, please.
Fun fact about me is that my grandmother was raised by Irish nuns. And so our family, at least I consider myself to be honorary Irish. And so she met her husband on stage singing Danny Boy. We've all been singers throughout our lives. And his name was Matthew Daniel. And so that song has kind of gone through generations. So she sang it on stage. My mother sang it on stage for all of her singing competitions and whatnot. I sang it on stage. And now I'm training my daughter to sing it on stage as well.
That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you for that share. And where is your practice, Doc?
My practice is in Meadowbrook, Pennsylvania. It's at Holy Redeemer Hospital.
Oh my goodness. How far
is that? It is about 40 minutes north of Philly.
Okay. So just a quick fun fact, sort of tangentially in common. My cousin, Jamie Bastek, is an OBGYN at UPenn.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, that's so awesome. She's delivered many babies, into the thousands is I think Jamie's count currently. And so thank you for bringing so many lives into the world.
No problem.
She's also vacationing as we speak, Sean, and made it here. Her husband just put this beautiful background. She's in Ocean City right now on vacay, but she's here with us.
Ocean City, Maryland or New Jersey?
Maryland. Typically we vacation in New Jersey. We thought we'd try something different.
Super cool. Final fun fact of intersection. I was in Maryland yesterday, bringing my son to the University of Maryland. So this is like
awesome.
All over the place.
That's awesome.
We may have passed each other. So Dr.
We have John. Sorry.
Go, Vinny.
Okay. We have John Baker. John. Hello, John. Hi. Before the age of 30, he had a medical license, was an athletic trainer, and a healthcare executive, plus an avid believer in self-myofascial release. So it's no surprise that he is the COO of NJ Spine and Wellness, as there is another company with the name in that it's pronounced NJ. That's what I'm rereading here. There you have it. So welcome, John Baker.
Thank you.
Mr. John Baker, welcome, brother.
What's going on, Sean? How are you?
I'm doing great. And when Business Mastery is concluding today, actually. There's some extended parts for Platinum. And whenever I think about a Tony event, you come very quickly to my heart and mind, John.
Thank you. It's quite an honor and quite a distinction knowing how many amazing people are in that room.
Yeah. And how about yourself, brother? Fun fact.
A fun fact. Well, I'm not going to tell you ones that you know. So instead, I'll tell you something that I've been working on recently. So, through this world and through this ecosystem, Ben Fox and I have collaborated on a couple items, one of which is a belt light where someone who is vision impaired can have the ground lit up in front of them whenever they go. And literally today, I just had a video sent to me from a father who has a young boy with cerebral palsy. We made him an Avengers belt light that also has a metronome, so he has auditory stimuli, so he can learn how to walk in sync and in rhythm. And we just got the first video of the young boy watching that, using that today. And I just watched it right before I came on here, and I had to share that.
It is absolutely awesome.
Awesome.
Congratulations, brother. Awesome.
I love that. That's great. Ben Fox is awesome. We have Alyssa Hargan as one of our assessors in Washington State. Alyssa Hargan founded and owns Vitality Health and Wellness Coaching. She's not only a functional medicine health coach, but also a cellular detox practitioner and software therapy technician. Her passion stems from her own health challenges, which made her an unlikely advocate in finding solutions to not only her pain, but that of others. Fueled by her own challenges, she's also discovered how diet, nutrition, and lifestyle can heal the body from the inside out. So welcome, Alyssa.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Alyssa, great to have you here. And how are you?
I'm well, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And how about a fun fact?
A fun fact. So when it's not too hot in the summertime, I love to have my windows and doors open and let a fresh breeze blow through. But unfortunately, my cat just learned how to open the screen door. And so anytime I forget and open up my front door, in 5 seconds, he'll have pulled the handle down and he'll be gone. He's an indoor cat only. And so the other night, it took me 45 minutes chasing him around the yard, trying to catch him because he ran outside. Just lets himself out now.
That is, and what's your cat's name?
Mario.
Mario. He's like playing Mario Brothers around the house with the screen door, and like, yes, and you're here, and thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you.
And so, like, in your heart, what's your mission in the world, Alyssa? Like, what are you creating in the world?
My mission is to help others avoid the pain that I myself have gone through. I know what it feels like to, have terrible digestion and just be in pain all the time, and so I want others to not have to go down that same route and to prevent that. And then to be able to, if they are in that position, to be able to heal and, recover from where they're at.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your share. Thank you for being here. And Vivian, we have more.
Yes, we do. We have Adam Gugino in the house as one of our assessors today. And if you don't know who he is, well, he's a gifted moneymaker and the revenue officer here at Unblinded. He, before he came here to proselytize the good cheer of Sean Callagy's formula, grew a company from 0 to 500 in a 450 square foot empty warehouse and went from 4 million to over $750 million, walked away from millions and millions and tens of millions to come here because he believes in the magic that Sean Callagy is creating through the use of the formula.
Adam Gugino, brother, and I believe in the magic you have brought to the world. I have learned so much from you. And for a dude that managed, how many phone calls a day was it? I want to make sure my math when I say this is correct. How many phone calls a day?
We would do in the hundreds of thousands a day on a good day, 400,000.
400,000, 1.5 million a week. Yeah, so you're talking 50 to 100 million phone calls a year.
Yeah, we would get up there. Absolutely, no question. Yeah. Yes,
see if I could say 50 million, right? That's a good,
yes, absolutely.
Imagine Vivian managing, and folks, 50 million phone calls or 75 million phone calls a year. That's utterly extraordinary. So I would say that, like, with all that data and information, Adam, patterns must emerge in how human beings go from hello to yes. Would you say so?
Yes, absolute formula must be present for sure. Process mastery was a key component to the success of the organization as well.
0 to 500 people. Amazing. So Vivian, and we have a role player.
Yes, we do. We have Brian Wallace in Cincinnati. Brian Wallace is the founder and president of Now Sourcing, an industry-leading infographic design agency, and runs LinkedIn local events nationwide. He hosts the Next Action podcast. And since 2016, Brian is one of Google's small business advisors. Plus, he's on the South by Southwest advisory board. Welcome, Brian.
Brian, how are you?
Doing well, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, brother. And hey, like if you're just like dropping in with a fun fact, what might that be?
Fun fact. Well, I mean, I take the world's information and I synthesize it back out simple. I would say, just as a global comment, a lot of people make the mistake that simple and easy are the same thing, and nothing could be further from the truth. I think that to explain things properly to the world for people that are kind of uninitiated and people that are experts, to synthesize and really get buy-in for those two kinds of groups, the only way to others, I think, is to make things simple. Like I like simple and easy.
Yeah.
I know.
How would you distinguish? I completely agree. I love having the simple and easy conversation. I would love to know your distinction between simple and easy.
Easy is overly broken down and only isolates a few pieces of stuff, but simple allows you to layer on a lot more complexity once you get permission and buy-in from people.
So am I hearing that simple makes it much more reproducible? It's like easy is like, oh yeah, it's easy, just like do what I do. And simple is more of the breakdown foundationally, so you can build upon, add distinctions too. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that what I'm hearing or no?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Awesome. And yes, thank you. And like, so LinkedIn, like what can you do with LinkedIn? You know, like please share with the world.
So sure, real quick, there's, let's say about 750 million people on the platform. And I'm sure
that's all
here. Say it again.
I said, that's all.
Oh, it's always growing. And ever since Microsoft took it over, they've been tearing it up, like just out of control. There's been a huge creator community the last few years, so it's growing more and more every day. So basically, whatever product, brand, service, whatever you're doing, your target market is there without question, right? Because when you have hundreds of millions of people and an organic opportunity to not just have ads, if you do it right, it's incredible. So most people are just like, oh, I don't like LinkedIn. That's just where all the salespeople are to give me 5 paragraphs of text that I'm not going to read, and a bunch of recruiters and spam. And it's just the place you go whenever you have a job change, right? What if you looked at it differently, everybody? What if you said, if I can really make it super clear what I do, crystallize what I do down to a statement, so it's obvious for others what I do, and then you make great content, not every hour saying happy Monday, Tuesday, whatever coronavirus day we're in, but to actually make original content every few days or once a week. It's like running a marathon, the New York City Marathon, Boston Marathon by yourself, right? Because whatever product, service, whatever you do, let's say there's, I'm just gonna throw out a number. Let's say there's 2,000 people that follow that advice, that actually make a great profile, it's clear what they do, and they make awesome regular content. So out of the 2,000 people, whatever you do, like what all of our contestants are doing, how many other people are doing that there out of 750 million? 5, 1, yourself, right? It's kind of a great day when you can have that big of an arena and just running your race like this, competing against your own time. I don't know. I don't know why people, I guess it's just because it's not patently obvious, or people remember a previous rendition of it when it isn't where it was today. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. Or because people hear that it's easy and they just do it and it's actually simple. Boom! How's that, Brian?
Look at this, man. Got to bring you on all the calls.
No, awesome job, brother. Super happy to have you here. And yes, there is lots to explore with all of our fine and amazing people here today, Vivian. And Vivian, of course, thank you. What would this be without you? Your energy, your love, your passion, your brilliance, your amazingness. Thank you.
I will absorb all that fabulosity. It's a bit much, but thank you. I love you all.
All right, extraordinary. So let's drop in and have some fun. John, you've been here before. So how would you like to go first?
Absolutely.
Yes, and we'll skip the coin toss. So, John, who would you like Brian to be?
You know, he was talking before about running the New York City Marathon by yourself. And fun fact, part 2, and Sean, you know this, I ran the marathon last year with only 30 days of training to raise money to fund research for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So instead of our typical medical practice and what I've come on here and done, I want Brian to be someone who I want to get to run the New York City Marathon with me, not this year because they canceled it, but next year.
Oh, John Baker throwing it down. Love it. So, Brian, you ready?
Born ready. Let's do it.
John, you got 3 minutes. Take us in, brother.
All right. Hey, Brian, thanks for taking my call today. I really appreciate it. So, listen, I know you're crazy busy. I know you have a ton going on. You were telling us before about, the algorithm of LinkedIn and how you can be so unique. So with someone who's figured that out, I'm sure you're in high demand. So one of the things that we get caught up in that rat race of just hitting task after task after task, taking those complex things, making them simple, then crushing them, sometimes we lose sight of what is really fulfilling. So something that I did recently that was massively fulfilling for me was take that complex task of running the New York City Marathon, only training for 30 days,
Wow.
and getting it done in 7 hours, 21 minutes, and 50 seconds.
So I'm not a racer, so breakout, so was that good compared to like the overall race? Is that like your personal best? How'd that work?
So that was the only race that I've ever ran. I never ran a 5K or a half marathon. Literally the first event I ever ran was the full 26.2 mile marathon. So for me, completing the race and getting the medal for me was a massive W, right? So this year, I should say that the next year that they're running it, not only do I want to complete it again, but I want to have more people get that experience of doing something you thought would be impossible, because you can take that and bring it back to your business and open your eyes to dreams that you couldn't even imagine. So, Brian, I could tell you mile by mile the story that I went through, but I just want to tell you about the finish line, right? Because that's the fun, that's the exciting part. Being tired, going past my limits that I thought I would have stopped at, left me with such an empowered state to come back to my business, come back to our medical practice, and tell people and share with them that, hey, I did something that I thought was impossible. You can too. And being able to have that perspective is massively valuable. So instead of doing a crash course and training for only 30 days and doing the marathon, I want to connect with people sooner, right? We have over a year and a half until the next marathon to train, to do it safely, and push yourself beyond your wildest dreams. Is that something that you'd be interested in learning more about?
I don't really know, because like I've never run a marathon before. I'm not like super out of shape, but I don't feel like I've ever really been a runner. And like what you were saying before about me like being busy and doing all this stuff on LinkedIn, I feel like I run a lot of marathons in my head on places like LinkedIn. So like, what should a guy like me who's like literally, I get like it was your first race, so maybe you've got some helpful feedback for me, but like, I don't know, like it hasn't really even entered my mind. Like I have a buddy who like runs an Ironman, like probably every third or fourth one. And every time he's like, oh, I'm never going to do it again. Then he's back out there doing it again. And I'm just like, hey, power to you, dude. But I don't know, like I'm a little hesitant. Like I could tell friends and clients and whatever different stories. So like, why should I do it? And why me? Maybe I'm not your target market. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Brian, you got a quick phone call, John? Brian's going to bounce back in just a couple minutes and you can continue this awesome chat.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. John, how'd that feel for you?
It was good. I felt like, I was starting to really find out what his objections were, to really develop more value and understanding why it could help him not only with his business, but also personally, and also make it a win-win, because not only would he be doing it for himself, but he could also be doing it for the charity and giving young boys a fighting chance at enjoying life.
All right. Awesome. Brian, if you had one word for how the connection felt with John, what would that one word be?
A little forced, if I'm being honest, because I feel like John wants it to go a certain way. And I'm almost not even role playing. Like I literally am that guy that hasn't run a race. So like on the role play in my mind, I'm trying to be as authentically me as possible. So I feel like I'm I'm sort of being boxed into a spot that I'm hesitating. I didn't get into the why of all of that, but I've started the why.
Awesome. Well, that's what we're here to do. So thank you for that. And Dr. Monique, are you ready?
I am ready.
Awesome. And who would you like Brian to be? What's a big
I want Brian to be himself.
All right. So here we go. Dr. Monique is not confused and she is ready to rock and roll.
Hello, Brian. So lovely to meet you today. How are you today?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing spectacular. So Brian, you seem, just in looking at you, you seem like such a lovely person, somebody that obviously cares about other individuals, somebody who probably has people in his life that means so much to him. Is that correct? Am I making the correct supposition about you?
Yeah, we all try. I think we all try to do our best.
Absolutely. Brian, do you have any women in your life who are just, they mean the world to you and you would want to provide them at every moment with the best information that you could possibly give them so that they could have optimal health, optimal peace, and just feel at their very best every moment of every day? Can you identify one person in your life that you would consider to be that person?
Tough to say no to something like that, right? So I would say, so first person that comes to mind is my wife and partner of 20 years.
Oh, that's beautiful. So you've been married for 20 years. That is such an amazing accomplishment. I've been married for 18 years, but my marriage, when we hit year 10, we were on the brink of divorce, and God stepped in, and with so much help from people in my community, we completely just redid our marriage and started from scratch. And now we are hitting our 19th year of marriage and doing better than we have ever done in our lives, and such a blessing. So appreciate.
You ever hear when people are married for 20 years and they say, people say, how many years have you been married? And they say 5 happy years. It's like, wait a minute, I thought you were. So there you go.
I totally get that. So what my question is for you, with your beautiful bride, have you ever walked through paths with her where she has experienced any issues in the area of her gynecologic health, as far as abnormal bleeding, issues with PMS, irregular cycles, possibly a miscarriage, possibly fertility issues? Has anything like that ever come up for y'all?
Sure.
What have you experienced with her? What was the particular issue? If you don't mind me asking.
We just kind of met, so I'm not sure you're ready for my life story.
No problem. That is totally fine. Let me just give you a couple of examples of people that I would help typically in my office, right? I'm a person who worked as a typical gynecologist for several years. And in that time, I worked as I was trained. So every issue that ever came across my board, I would compassionately meet my patients, enjoy my time with them. But the only tool that I had in my pocket to treat almost every issue was the use of contraceptives. So if they came in with abnormal bleeding, it would be, oh, let me put you on this contraceptive so we can give you a regular cycle. If they had PMS, it would be, let me give you a contraceptive. Does that kind of sound familiar to you? Something that she might have experienced or you might have experienced?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people are very closed-minded in all of the doorways that we close out by not keeping all the permutations open. I think a lot of people, sometimes they stop learning after some point, or they're just like, oh, that's just for doctors. And it's like, well, it's you, it's your body, it's your health. Like, why would you care about that? It resonates with me. Yes.
Exactly. So I have been so blessed in the past several years to completely change my style of practice. So now when I encounter my patients, what I do is I always...
We're going to pause. Brian's got a quick call and pick up right there in just a couple of minutes. Sound great?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So Dr. Monique, how did that feel for you?
It felt good. I felt like maybe I pushed it a little bit too much by jumping the gun and asking him personal information about his wife, which I understand would be difficult to share in this public arena. I should have probably worded that in a simpler way, as to not asking him specifically about his wife, but just in general, have you heard of other women having this sort of issue in the past?
Yeah. And I have a great access. After the judges go and after round 2, I'll share a couple quick thoughts and I think how you can seamlessly and optimally achieve that. Great job. Brian, if you had one word for that encounter, how that felt?
So I'd say comfortable, but I'd put a little asterisk next to it, but we've already addressed it. So it's like, I think she set it up really nice, and then there was like a point where it got awkward. And maybe after we're live, I'll tell you why it's specifically awkward for my life.
Yeah, I could. I mean, we could easily create various scenarios. Totally understandable. So, and this is like what we're here to do in the Real Raw, right? These are brilliant people, like all of you. And how is it that humans connect and go from hello to yes? Because influence truly is a superpower. And what makes Oprah Winfrey Oprah, and what makes a person we've never heard of that didn't quite get there? How do you walk into a courtroom with a set of facts that you can't lose, and you lose, and somebody else walks in with a set of facts and everything's stacked against them, and unblinds the judge and the jury to truth? Like, how did those things occur in the world? It's not by accident, and it's not by magic. It looks like magic, but it's advanced science. So with that said, let's drop into some people to assess the science. So Alyssa, what do you have? And forgive me, about 30 to 40 seconds of feedback each on the question of how deep was the connection emotionally, and was something put at stake that mattered? Like, we don't want to be Charlie Brown's teacher saying wah, 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 wah. We want to create a depth of connection, and for it to be present. That's what we're assessing. John and Dr. Monique on round one. And like 30 to 40 seconds of feedback, maybe 15 to 20 seconds on what went well with John, and what was an opportunity for growth. So please, Alyssa, what do you have?
So for John, I thought, your passion really came across clearly. I really heard that in your voice. I think maybe some, growth area could be, just maybe listening more to what Brian, what his physical activity level tends to be, what type of interest does he have athletically, and where would be his why of why he would want to go to do a marathon, and what would be the benefit for doing that. But I love your energy, John, and it definitely perked my interest of running a marathon. So great job. I thought, and I'm not sure, I know there's a scale of 1 to 10. Are we supposed to give that now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. What do you have?
So just from the knowledge I have, I would give him a 7.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Alyssa. And how about for Dr. Monique?
I would give a 7 as well. And I thought that her passion, for what she does was also really clear. I thought that the same thing, kind of, finding out about, and she did, Monique did ask, do you have people in your life that you really love and care about, specifically women? But I guess finding the areas to connect on would be, just asking more questions, just to get to know them before diving in and say, okay, tell me about your health problems or their health problems. But yeah, I thought she did a great job too.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it. Great job, Alyssa. Adam Gagina, what do you have for Mr. John Baker?
I got some good feedback, but real quick, Sean, you did forget my fun fact, and I couldn't leave this one out. John Baker and his partner, Nick, you talk about 3 degrees from separation, business mastery. When I was looking to hire a coach and called Tony Robbins' team, and then called my friend and said, should I hire a coach for $20,000 through Tony Robbins? He said, no, go to Business Mastery. I can get you tickets through my friend John and Nick, who know Sean Callagy, and you could get platinum partnership tickets for a lot less of a price. So you had no idea who I was or how I was getting there. But yeah, that was Mr. John, and I was with him at that event. So just wanted to make sure that you were
That was
aware.
a blast.
Extraordinary.
Yeah. Extraordinary. So John, with all that being said, as much as I love you, I got to give you real direct feedback, of course, because it's the real raw and we're raw. But no, your energy was incredible. Your pausing, your storytelling, authentic passion. You heard for sure your belief in wanting to, have somebody see what the value that you saw in running that marathon. The problem for me was the sequencing, really, when it comes down to that story. should have been told after you asked questions to build emotional rapport, putting something at stake. And it just literally, like I said, it was sequencing. There needed to be more engagement, more connection, more listening before you were really able to to use that story as powerfully as you did.
So
overall, I would say a 7.0.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll give it 7.5. Let me bump it up 0.5 for that. And then for, I mean, I thought her energy was absolutely amazing. The acknowledgement was great. I would have liked the acknowledgement to come from some questions for Brian. I mean, you started with acknowledging based just on perception and assumptions. And then you did find out more and did acknowledge for the right reasons. Overall, your energy was fun. It was amazing. You handled the objection or the uncomfortable feeling really well. And you did put something at stake. I do feel like you made an emotional connection with Brian. I would have still liked some more questions as well. But overall, great job. I would give you an 8.5.
Extraordinary. All right. Thank you, Adam Gugino. And John, by the way, how did you know Adam? Like, what was the connection for coming?
So, Nick Buffano had known Adam's friend Dave Stodolak for 10, 15 years. They worked together, I believe, on Wall Street. So
yeah, we had a mutual, very, very close friend.
So that mutual close friend connected Adam with Nick and I, and that's how the four of us actually went out to Business Mastery together.
I was calling John like every day. Like, did you get that ticket from Sean? Did you get that ticket from Sean?
John was calling me, like, do you have the tickets? Could you get the tickets? I'm like, yeah, dude, it's gonna be all good. It's good. Don't worry, right?
So, yeah, I think we got him like the day before, but it was okay. We got him.
Adam, does that surprise you?
No, not at all. I know exactly what was happening behind the scenes. I'm all good. It all worked out. It was amazing.
So, well, thank you, John. All right.
No problem.
So round 2, Dr. Monique, are you ready to drop back in?
Yes, there you go.
All right.
All right. Yep.
So please, ring, ring. Brian is back.
Hello, Brian. How are you? So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me a little bit earlier. Your relationships with the people in your life are obviously super important, and that is just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And as I was mentioning earlier, what I do in my office is really look for the root causes and always be prepared to continue to grow and continue to learn, and to always be searching for another opportunity. So what my question for you is, for the women in your life, the women that you care about, would you be interested in letting them know more about how I practice with NAPRO technology, how I would interview them, discuss with them exactly what they're going through, where they are emotionally, physically, spiritually, as well as looking at the function of their uterus, their bleeding patterns, their fertility, all of those aspects, and then really taking the time to dissect it down and figure out not what the symptoms are that they're dealing with, but what the root cause is that is causing those symptoms. Would you be interested in just introducing the women in your life to my practice?
Sure.
That's wonderful. So what I would like you to do is just to take a piece of pen and a paper. And then if you have it in front of you, I'm going to ask you to write down something. Okay. So
Sure,
what I'd like you to write down is my YouTube channel, and it is Dr. Monique Ruberu. And if they just stick that Dr. Monique Ruberu into YouTube, then they will see some of my videos that describe the different ways that I address the different issues, whether it be infertility or polycystic ovarian syndrome or irregular cycles or abnormal bleeding. Then they can get more information. It has links to my website as well. And then they can contact me directly through the website. I would love to care for anybody that is important to you and to give them the opportunity to address all of their GYN concerns.
Cool, I'll check it out. Any specific video you think we should start with?
So I would start with the one that is IVF why not? I think that most people have a conception about IVF that it's the only way to solve fertility issues. And what I do with IVF is completely different. I have women chart their bleeding patterns, their mucus patterns, identify where they're ovulating, and then we check hormone levels before and after ovulation to find out what the defect is underlying that. And then we address those problems. And 9 times out of 10, when we're looking at that woman's charting, even in women that come to us for what they're told is unexplained infertility, we find multiple explanations of that fertility issue.
Mm-hmm.
And most people know somebody that's dealt with infertility issues or decreased fertility issues in their lives.
All right. Dr. Monique, excellent job. How'd that feel for you?
That felt great.
Great. Brian, if you rate that level of connection this time, scale 1 to 10, how connected did you feel?
Not as much as before. I was trying to figure out the right words to string together, and since my world is flying all over the place, the words that came into focus were non-specific overselling. So we went from a really good rapport, and it wasn't bad, sandwiching feedback here. It wasn't that it was bad. I think it went down in quality because we already qualified and quantified that I do have women in my life. We talked about my wife specifically, and then we went back to the general, and that kind of bothered me because it stepped away from the specifics that I've given you, and it went back into more of a generic pitch. So I tried to kind of steer it back on track, asking you about like the specific videos and all of that. So
I like the language of non-specific overselling. I like that language, right? Awesome. Thank you. John, are you ready?
All righty.
All right, please.
So Brian, I think I got so excited before actually it wasn't my best listening moment. So I do have a question for you. It could be something small, like another car pulling up next to you at a red light and rolling down the window and saying, hey, you have a turn signal out. Have you ever had a stranger help you?
Sure. I think that's one of the best moments.
And how did that feel?
Weird, but I like to be the kind of person that I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room. And I think that we all need to accept help and love and grace and learn every day. And without that, I think we wander into a world of ego and small-mindedness and a lack of abundance.
So the flip side of that coin, have you been that stranger who's helped someone randomly too?
Multiple times per day.
And I'm guessing that probably feels just as good as when a stranger helps you, right?
I think it's reciprocal. So sometimes people say, thanks, you did a great job. And then the person's like, oh no, I'm not that big a deal. And it's like, no, take the compliment because you have to have that ability to accept it and give it.
So that's the concept of reciprocity is something that makes us uniquely human. And I neglected to tell you that when I ran the marathon, I didn't meet the kids that were benefiting from me running. So I'd like to kind of turn that favor and ask you to be that stranger. You mentioned you have a friend who runs triathlons. If you feel comfortable, would you be okay sharing my contact information with him if that's something that he would be interested in, while I still get to know you and tell you more about this charity and how much it means to me?
Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. He actually, the day that he actually came to my city to run Ironman, we actually made a whole big meal for him. And years later, he still remembers that moment where he's like, oh, you guys made us like the best meal ever. And always like, like whenever I talk to him, like that's one of the first things he talks about. So yeah, he's a special friend and of course, happy to. And he loves racing. So I'm sure he, I know he's in shape for it. He may not be in Ironman shape every day, but man, I tell you, it's pretty incredible.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to connect with him, and I'd love to connect with you further about it too when we have more time.
Sure, sounds good.
Awesome.
John,
I think we have a little extra time, or we just hit the mark.
You're about 20 seconds left, but how'd that feel for you, John?
I think it felt more authentic. You know, when Adam gave the feedback of doing things out of order, I was like, all right, so I got to stop, press reset and say like, hey, I got excited, but I did things out of order. And then let's kind of go back to the beginning and move forward again.
Right. Awesome. Yes. And what would you share, Brian? How did that feel for you?
Better on the redirect. I think that John did a good job listening to the feedback. The order is very important. A critique, though, I don't know. It felt like he kind of gave up on me a little bit, and he heard well that I have a friend who's probably like a much better target market, and this guy could run all that. Like he could, I don't know, like just for fun, he'll like run across the state or something crazy, right? But why give up on me? Because maybe I will get into shape. Maybe I'll raise money. Maybe I'll do both. And because we don't know each other super well yet, although I'm generous with my connections, I might imagine that other people might be a little guarded with it. So I felt like you're giving up on me a little bit too soon and shifting. I mean, I think it's a pretty cool tactic, but I'm not 100% sold on it.
All right. Excellent job, sir. Let's start this time again with Alyssa. Alyssa, this time, what'd you have for Dr. Monique?
So I agree with Brian a little bit on that I felt like the rapport building went back a little bit. I just felt like if I was a guy sitting there talking to a gynecologist about female issues, that would make me feel super uncomfortable. Especially, you know, with her throwing out, you know, different conditions. I mean, I'd be like blushing if I was a guy. Maybe they wouldn't, but I just think that maybe talking more, saying, you know, do you know or have women in your life that would like to feel better, you know, or have better cycles, or, you know, things that are not so medical related, is specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's kind of confusing, makes sense. And then I guess just ask more questions about the women in Brian's life, and again, not going too deep, but as far as, you know, just saying general questions like, do you have women that are struggling with their health that you know, would love to be able to help them? But again, good energy, and I hear the passion.
Awesome. And what'd you have for a score?
6.5.
Okay. And for Mr. John Baker?
I felt that the rapport building was better that time. You gave Brian the chance to talk and tell his story a little bit about the people that he's helped, and you know, give him a chance to convey his unique heroic identity a little bit. And you know, you asked open-ended questions that gave him, you know, a chance to say more than just yes or no. So I thought that was really good. And I would give you 8.5.
Excellent work. Adam Gugino, what'd you have for Dr. Monique?
So, Dr. Monique, I really have to say, she pivoted with Brian, I think clearly because of the uncomfortable conversation that started or a little earlier. I would have preferred to stay on it more general, but her passion, her energy, I mean, and I'm sure if you were talking to a female, they would have been completely engaged and asking questions and like loving your authenticity. Yeah. So, but I agree with the feedback that's been given already, just the challenge of the dynamic that we had here. But overall, I still think she did a really great job. I would have liked her to convey her heroic, unique identity about really like if the opportunity there for Brian was just high level, how many, you know, females you've helped, or even give an example of just something that's, you know, shown high level of positive outcomes, you know, just something general, but something impactful, just so he want to engage more. But overall, great job. I would say did go down a little bit, but to I would say an 8.0.
All right. And for Mr. John Baker?
John, first of all, I thought brilliant in the way you started and turned that around and asked those questions and brought Brian to reciprocity. I love that concept. What I would have went from there, and he said it, instead of pivoting off of him, I mean, I would have went into the story of how amazing it felt. Like that's where your heroic, unique identity. Not only did you feel amazing, not only did you get healthy and change your life and all these wonderful benefits you got, but you also had the reciprocity of helping somebody else, which you've connected with him on right there. So, I mean, a great job in turning it around. I just wouldn't have shifted or pivoted off of him. So overall, I'd say it went up to an 8.5.
All right. Outstanding job, everybody. So yeah, can we play with something for a second related to like how we might get to some of these places that we're discussing in the Dr. Monique conversation, but it applies to everything. Like there's a mechanism to introduce these concepts, and I want to try something. So if that's okay. Brian, would you mind role playing with me?
It'd be a pleasure. Let's do it.
Yeah, thank you. So, hey, Brian, you know, super appreciate like, you know, hanging out with you, bumping into you on at the seminar, like, and yeah, like, what brought you here today?
Yeah, you know, I just heard a lot of good feedback from a number of friends and colleagues that are part of my trusted circle. It's my first time here, but this looked like the right place to be, and I'm just appreciative of meeting people.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate your vulnerability, and like, and I know you're doing some really meaningful things with LinkedIn, but like, what's your mission? Like, what are you up to in the world?
Yeah, so kind of like we had caught up the other day when we were talking about simplicity, I think that it's one of the world's most misunderstood things, that people are kind of irrational right now, and there's so much stuff going on in the world, and everybody thinks that they don't have time to pay attention. But if everybody explained things better, I think that a lot of things would be understood a lot better, which could impact the world a lot more. That's really a big thing in my life right now.
Amazing. So I'm hearing that heart, I'm hearing the desire and caring for people. You know, like what's like your life about that's in business? Amazing. Like what else are you up to in life?
What else am I up to in life? Well, I have a big family. I'm out here in Cincinnati. My folks are out east in New York, and travel is kind of hard with all that right now. So just trying to keep everything dimensionally balanced, which is always a challenge.
Dimensionally balanced. I love like scotoma creating phraseology. Dimensionally balanced. Please speak into that.
So I think that, have you ever heard of the four burner theory, that life is, yeah, I probably should look this up, but I'll do my best off the fly. So basically we get four burners in life, but they're not all on. And most people in life burn themselves out just by working themselves to death, because we're just going to hack our way through and we're going to be an overnight success, which of course we know is always usually a way to failure. You might get lucky here and there, but it's probably not a good life. And then you have friends and family, you have religion and spirit and yourself. And the problem with life that is beyond our control, but is more of a challenge than a problem, is we only get to have a couple of burners on. So I think a lot of times people overburn the one, don't really do it on the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not sure of this, but you can look it up later.
Yeah. So you know, I talk about a concept of conscious imbalance. Is that a little bit related, where you're like,
well, tell me more, because I'm not sure exactly where you're going with it. I think I know, but I don't like to presuppose on other people.
Like more where you're not ever in balance, but you're sort of selectively in imbalance, and like sort of consistently touching different areas in different ways or combinations. But like we never can live an actually perfectly balanced life. Similar or not?
Sure. Kind of like how science would describe dynamic equilibrium. Imagine that you have a sink and you have it plugged and the water's coming down. Now you take the plug out and the water goes down, but the amount of water that's coming in and going out keeps the water level up.
Yeah, love it.
That water is life for you.
Very cool. Well, you're a brilliant person. I'm hearing like Renaissance-ness in your tonality, and really appreciate meeting you.
Hey, likewise, man.
Yeah. And so, yeah, can I share a little bit about myself?
I would love to hear.
Last 20 seconds or so we have. Again, my name is Dr. Monique. And in the same way that I could see and hear that you're looking into life through a different prism, and the things that people aren't seeing that are like right there, right? And I love when you were discussing simple and easy, like, you know, this concept of four burners, right? And what I do in the world is I see what people don't see about how broken the health model is, particularly for women. And what I found is there's an extraordinary gap in how traditional medical science treats the most basic functioning of a woman's body on a daily, monthly, annual basis. And this leads to extraordinary challenges and problems for women. So like that's what I'm up to in the world. And I'd love to know if there's like a little bit more time we could chat at some points. I know you know a ton of people, and obviously you have people that you love and care about, but I'd love to learn a little bit more about what you're sharing, maybe share a little bit more I'm up to, and see what we can co-create.
Yeah, I'd certainly be up for it, Sean. I think that's really cool. And I agree. I think a lot of health is misunderstood, a lot of it's broken, and a lot of people end up paying the price as a result.
Yeah. Okay, pause. So how did that, if that's the Dr. Monique presentation, how does that feel in terms of your receptivity to like the dynamic? Please share.
Me? Okay. So I feel like part of Sean's brilliance is he can look at everybody in the world, and let's say we're at the suit, since I'm just pulling analogies out everywhere today, let's say we're at the suit store, and each one is an avatar of humanity. So Sean is coming into it open that I could be any divergent path of all sorts of different avatars of people. So he's asking me questions, having me lead, so he knows what to anticipate, almost to the level of being precognitive about it, because he really knows how to do it. And he's looking at all these suits over here. He's like, Brian's that suit. And now I understand that. So now I can dive into, model number 387. So I know where to go next. He's looking for my tone. He's looking for the way I talk. He's looking to see what I'm interested in, so he can pattern that in a way that I can receive it.
Yeah. And thank you, brother. And for everybody here, there is a science to this. Right. And the only distinction, the distinction between integrous and non-integrous influence, to me, the core distinction, is your intention. Is your intention to add value, to help and support, or is your intention to take, right? That's the beginning. There's more, right? But is your intention to love people and add value? And we sit in the space of loving people and adding value. Then the question is, how do we truly connect authentically, right? So, and that's the pattern. So Brian, thank you so much. And how was your experience here today?
Really good. A couple weeks ago, I was the contestant, and I didn't really know exactly what to think. And I prefer that because you all see a little bit of my personality in this. Throw me in whatever situation. I'm happy to be challenged by it, because I think that's really how we grow. I'm not waiting for somebody to give me a bulleted list of how to behave, whatever. I could go work for other people if I needed that in my life. Already been there, done that. Thank you very much. Moving on. So being the role player side of it allowed me to help kind of nudge the contestant along a little bit. So I really appreciated this role of it. I saw firsthand what it looked like on the other side of it last time. And now that I kind of knew the format, I knew a little bit more about what I was getting into. And hopefully I was a respectful, not taking the stage of the judges, but also providing a little bit of feedback and fun for all.
Sir, your heart, your respect, your brilliance, and your mastery in communication were all present. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, amazing. Dr. Monique, how was today for you?
I am just bowled over. It was really a fantastic experience, honestly. I came in knowing that I was going to learn so much from all of you, and it's come true. So I so appreciate your feedback and everything that you've shown me as far as different ways of meeting with this individual, like especially if it's ideal that it's only a 3-minute conversation, because that makes it so much easier when you actually have 10 minutes to build the rapport. If you get used to focusing and building that rapport in a very, very short time, then it gives you the skills to be able to do it at any time. So thank you so much.
Doc, your humility, your growth mindset, in light of your accomplishments, your brilliance, and what you've done in the world, is truly present and extraordinary. So thank you for that. It meant a lot, and this is what we're here to do together. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
John Baker. how was today for you, brother?
Sean, you've had me on here a number of times, both as a contestant as well as a judge. I love getting the reps in. I can't tell you how many practice mastery events that I've been to, how many times we've had communications about this process, and even how your lecture just on music and how it can change your state is what helped me get through the marathon. But you still got to get your reps in. You still got to consistently. It's not, oh, I did that real well once and then that was it. Like for me, like I love coming back here because I get to work on a different thing and connect and meet new people. So, me, Sean, I always have a blast. Thank you.
John, I have so much gratitude for you and Nick, including the introduction to Adam Gugino, obviously, and your warrior's heart and leadership and courage is just like always present in here. And I appreciate you. And I definitely want to see you soon. It's been too long. So thanks, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Alyssa, how was today for you?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. It's always good to just be able to interact with something like this instead of just being a listener, but to actually be involved. It makes you stop and think about, okay, what am I hearing? What are they doing? And then trying to apply it to my own life.
Yeah. And Alyssa, thank you. The world needs your disruptive viewpoint on health and support and so your impact. And thank you for being here and sharpening that and inspiring and giving great feedback today.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thank you, Alyssa. AG, brother, great job as always. We got a lot of things to do in this world. How are you, Adam? Final.
I'm great. And this group today, just like you said, the growth mindset, the humility, everybody was here to just purely add value and help each other. And you felt it, the chills, the goosebumps, all of it, the whole entire time today. So wonderful group, wonderful job, and just grateful to be here.
All right. Hey, influence is a superpower, integrity-based, heart-centered influence that is. It's present here and being unlocked each and every day. And thank you guys. You did such a fantastic job. Happy Trajectory Tuesday. Be loving and be intentional about where you're headed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.